This morning, we're with eventing legend Mary King, 6 times consecutive Olympian, 3 Olympic medals, 6 gold and European medals, a host of awards, and we're here to talk about her new book, My Way. But before we talk about that, let's go back to the start, because I think you have a very interesting start in the horse world and not at all typical.
No, that's right. I have been mad keen on horses ever since I can first remember, but had totally unhorsey parents, so I don't quite know where I got the love of horses from. But it really began when I was a child in the village I lived in Devon. The vicar had a pony, and that was the start of it. I used to ride the pony and gradually progress from there. I just had this drive to want to try and event and try and succeed in that world. And Mum and Dad supported me, let me leave school, and I went off and worked for the lady called Sheila Wilcox, who is a very, very famous 3-day event rider, one of the first most successful female riders in eventing. I could use the knowledge that I had gained from working for Sheila Wilcox, and that's what I've been doing with her, breaking in and producing horses. So I did quite a bit of that to begin with, buying and selling, but desperately wanted to compete, but was always in the situation once the horses became more valuable that I needed to sell. But gradually progressed from there. Had one horse that I managed to keep. I was offered a lot of money for him, and I'd managed to get him up to intermediate level. And in the end, I said to the people, I ummed and ahed and said, no, I'd rather be famous than rich. Right. And so I kept that horse, and it was that horse, Divers Rock, that in 1985 I first rode at Badminton Horse Trials. And it was that year I managed to clinch my first sponsorship. Yes. With the Carphone Group. But that was after, I was 25 then, and I'd started off as an 18-year-old trying to make a go of my own yard. So, I'd worked away for a number of years before I managed to get up to that level, to then get a bit of sponsorship, and from there,
Did you find the sponsorship was really a big help to you?
Oh, absolutely huge support, and enabled me to not have to do my butcher's delivery round and do my odd jobs. Yes. I could focus on learning how to progress. You're forever learning. Every horse is different. And the lady and the chairman and wife of the company, the Carphone Group, who were my first sponsors, the lady, Gilly Robinson, she still, this was back in 1985, she started to support me, and still now to this day, she's part of my yard. So she's been a tremendous support.
It's hard to believe, but you've been at this sport for nearly 30 years. You don't look at it, in fairness, but what would stick out in your memory as the big highlights?
Well, I still think it was that first win at Badminton Horse Trials has been the most exciting sort of win of my career, in a way that, as a child, Badminton Horse Trials was just, the event. It was the thing I wanted to get to ride at Badminton. And then years later, it was 1992, managed to actually win it with King William. So that was seriously special.
Very special, yeah.
But also my first British team appearance, which was in 1991 at Punchestown, when Ireland hosted the European Championships. And that was the first time that I'd been selected to ride in the British team. And that was so exciting to be there, coming to Ireland, and with these riders like Ian Stark and Ginny Holgate, riders that I so admired, were my absolute heroes and heroines, and I was there in a British team with them going to a championship. But I've been very lucky over the years. There have been lots of other exciting times. My second win at Badminton in 2000 was very special. That was with the Irish bred horse Star Appeal. He was a horse by I'm a Star, really lovely, tough Irish horse, a great galloper, very bold and brave. And in fact, that's when we first met in 1995, when I actually won Punchestown with Star Appeal.
That's right.
But when I won Badminton with him in 2000, that was exciting in a way that my life had changed so much. I'd got married, I had children, And people said, oh, once you have your children, you
Yes.
won't want to win anymore. So it was lovely to go and win.
So would you typically buy like an Irish 5-year-old horse? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, I mean, the majority of my major successes have been on Irish bred horses, and yes, what with Star Appeal and the Cavalier horses, I don't know, they seem to just be quite tough by nature, and and sound. The horses, they've gone on and on.
Yes.
If I think the number of events that Star Appeal did from a 5-year-old through until he retired, and he's a tough, sound horse. I've got a lovely young mare, just a 6-year-old mare, called King's Choice. She's another Cavalier horse,
Right.
actually. She's a little bit of a smaller type of horse, but she's got a great attitude. She's brave, bold, tough, and wants to do it. And that so often seems the case with the Irish horses.
I mean, if you could talk to the Irish breeders, I suppose, and recommending them what to breed for eventing, what would you say to them?
Well, the sport obviously has changed hugely over the years I've been involved. It's become very professional, and
Yes.
the dressage, all the phases are extremely important, but it's not just about breeding a horse that's brave and bold and strong and fast across country. They've got to move very well now to be able to produce a top class dressage test, which you need to be able to do to win a top event now.
Yes.
But also the show jumping, they've got to be clean jumping horses. So, and because now it's a shorter format across country, a little bit of foreign breeding foreign blood is okay. We all have our own sort of favourite type of horses, but I personally still like a horse with plenty of thoroughbred blood,
Yes.
but a little bit of maybe continental breeding, or to produce that maybe a little bit better movement and a slightly more careful jump. But at the end of the day, if you can find a thoroughbred or thoroughbred cross, with maybe a little bit of Irish draft blood or something, if you can
Yes.
find a horse that moves and jumps, but with that breeding, I still think is the best.
Yes. Am I right in saying that, you hold a record for 6 consecutive Olympic appearances?
I think I'm right in saying I've equalled the British record. There has been one or two other athletes that have done 6 consecutive Olympics,
Yes.
but nobody's done 7, so there's an incentive.
So we'll have to watch
You
the
need to
space
keep
for that
going
one.
for a bit longer.
We're here in your beautiful home in Devon, and I see the stables around us. It's a real family atmosphere. And your daughter Emily, she's really following in your footsteps.
Yes, she's wanted to follow in my footsteps from a very young age, and I think is determined to do better than I have.
That'll be a challenge for her.
She's 18 years old now, so is just in her sort of last year of juniors and starts Young Riders next year. And she's had a lot of success already for her age. She's been done very well. She's been a silver medalist at the Junior European Championships, and was actually the under 21-year-old national champion last year at the age of 17. But she's experienced the highs and lows already. She's had a couple of heavy falls through the
Yes.
years she's been eventing, but still really wants to do it. It doesn't seem to have put her off.
I've been talking to her this morning. She's very much a chip of the old block. I can just see you in her. It's incredible.
Oh,
and
thank you.
You brought out this book,
I have.
Mary King My Way. So
Yes.
it's not a racy novel.
No, it's not. It's my first. I have written a couple of books in the
Yes.
past, my last one being my autobiography, but this book is the first training book that I've written, and just really wanted to share with everybody, with young riders.
Yes.
It's very much based at targeted at the sort of grassroots amateur rider, younger rider who's maybe starting eventing, or riders eventing at the novice level, wanting to progress. And it's just really a book on my way, how I manage my yard. The first section is on management, how I run my yard, the feeding, fattening,
so it's very
regime.
practical.
Very practical. And then it goes on to the dressage
Yes.
phase, how I produce my young horses, different exercises I use, how to, mistakes that happen, how I problem solving with
Right.
different things.
So you're actually going to give people sort of insights into the sort of trade secrets, as it were.
Yeah, that's right. All the tips.
Is that a good idea?
Well, yes, I think it's important to share, share
Yes.
what we do. We're all,
Yes.
trying to do best for our horses, trying to produce
Yes.
horses as best as possible in a sort of kind way, so the horses really work for us and want to do it at the end of
Yes.
the day. And then, so dressage, and then onto the show jumping phase, all different exercises I use to improve horses with, different, horses have different problems, have
Yes.
different mistakes. And then onto the cross-country phase. So hopefully it's full of information,
Yes.
and people will be able to, get a lot of tips for producing their own horses and themselves.
That's really good. Yeah, that'll be very interesting to read, actually. So I look forward to seeing you over in Holmestead, and we'll have a nice glass of champagne together and sign a few books.
Yes, really looking forward to seeing everybody in Ireland, and yes, I'll be signing and personalising copies for anybody who wants to buy one.
Maybe we'll even have another chat when you're there.
Absolutely.